What's going on, everyone? Welcome back into the channel. You guys know what time it is. It is time for yet another Green Bay Packers 7-round mock draft. Now, this week is different. Although it's version 4.0, it is different because we just finished the NFL Combine. So obviously, this means a lot for the NFL Draft. Things are starting to change more and more as we near closer and closer to the draft, and we're starting to get a better idea of some of these prospects in terms of their athletic abilities, which, of course, as a Green Bay Packer fan, we know the Packers love to draft their athletes. So today will be the first Green Bay Packers 7-round mock draft post Combine. I do a Packers mock draft every single week, so if you happen to be a new viewer and just stumbled upon the channel and want more Packers content, such as mock drafts, going over free agency, going over salary cap, and all other news Green Bay Packers, go down and click that subscribe button. I actually just noticed that over 50% of my viewers are actually not subscribed, so I would really appreciate it if you guys could quickly go down and click subscribe. Again, thank you all for the endless support. All right, so now let's dive down into this mock draft. Just a few things I want to cover before we get into this thing. Safety free agent market right now is absolutely insane. I just feel like I should talk about this, even though we're doing a mock draft and this isn't a free agent based video. I mean, we just saw Justin Simmons get released today. This free agent market is unreal, like the best I've ever seen, and a perfect timing for the Green Bay Packers, who don't really have a starting safety right now. So although I'm still going to focus on getting a safety in the draft, because I think the Packers should do that and sign free agents, we're going to kind of go into this thinking, hey, the Packers are going to sign a veteran or two at safety in the free agent class. Yesterday, I made a video saying the Packers should 100% sign Xavier McKinney this Monday, but there's so many other options, such as Jordan Fuller or even Isaiah Simmons, who might be too expensive. Gilman from the Chargers. There's a ton of guys that I think could fit into this scheme, and I think the Packers go out and sign one or two free agents at safety, but also draft one in this draft. But maybe it's not necessarily a first round need if the Packers go and get someone like McKinney. All right, so let's get into this draft. I'm going to do no trades again. It was like an overwhelming agreement that a lot of people didn't want trades yet. We're still too far out of the draft. A lot of people are saying let free agency happen so we can kind of get a better idea of the Packers' overall roster going into this draft. So I'm going to keep it as is, a 7-round mock draft with no trades post-combine. So bringing up the screen, we see the Packers obviously pick at 25. That is going to remain the same for this mock draft. So let's get the 24 picks prior out of the way. All right, so let's quickly run over the picks that happened before the Green Bay Packers. Caleb Williams to the Bears, Drake May to the Commanders, Brock Bowers goes as the first non-quarterback to the Patriots at 3. I feel like if Belichick was there, that would definitely be a Patriots-esque pick, but Marvin Harrison falls to 4 to the Arizona Cardinals, Malik Neighbors to the Chargers, Rome Odunze to the Giants, Cooper DeJean still going top 10 on PFF's model, even though he didn't compete in the Combine. Not saying he's not going to, be a first-round pick. He will, but I see more in the teens, maybe falls to 20 or something like that. Definitely a trade-up candidate, in my opinion, at like 18 or 19 if he's sitting there, if the Packers want to trade up and go get that guy. Quinyon Mitchell might be the first cornerback off the board over Cooper DeJean. I mean, he just blew up at the Combine. Byron Murphy to the Bears, Joe Alt to the Jets. That would be an amazing pick for the Jets there, to have Joe Alt fall all the way to 10 to protect Aaron Rodgers, right? Troy Fatano at 11, Terrion Arnold at 12, Fuega at 13 to the Raiders. Jaden Daniels falls all the way to 14 to the Saints. That'd be a nice pickup for them as well. Jerzon Newton to the Colts, Jared Verse to the Seahawks, Nate Wiggins at 17. Nate Wiggins is a corner that, if he falls to 17, 18, 19, and the Packers really want to go and get a cornerback, he's a guy I do really like as a trade-up opportunity. Dallas Turner at 18, Fashanu at 19 to the Rams, Latu to the Steelers, J.C. Latham to the Dolphins here. Tyler Nubin has been flying up boards, and he's going before the Packers pick in some of these mock drafts that I do off to the side. Tyler Nubin at 22 here to the Eagles. But again, I'm basing this off saying, hey, maybe the Packers go out, sign a top-tier free agent safety, and then maybe wait till rounds like 3, 4, 5, and get 2 safeties in this draft as well. Peyton Wilson has been flying up boards as like linebacker number 1. He had a good combine as well. And Brian Thomas at 24 to the Dallas Cowboys. So right now at 25, I mean, there is a plethora of offensive linemen. Obviously, Jackson Powers Johnson is the top one here and likely will be our pick just because he's a day 1 starter at center and he could also play guard. Like, he has versatility, so you will find a spot for him starting in this offensive line. If you are still on Josh Myers and you want Josh Myers to start at center day one, Jackson Powers-Johnson will be your right guard on day one as well. And that guy is a mauler and is a great lineman for the run game, and that's what the Packers need. We also have Mims here at tackle. We have Graham Barton. If Jackson Powers-Johnson wasn't here, my pick would probably be Graham Barton because he's a very similar type of player where he can play center, he can play guard, he could even play tackle. We have Tyler Guyton, we have Zach Frazier. You also have Kool-Aid McKinstry, who has been falling. Now he's ranked 35th. Because he didn't test at the combine, a lot of people feel he's going to run like a 4.6 40 because he's slower than Terrion Arnold when you watch the game film. TJ Tampa's here. Mike Sainristil has been rising a lot and very well could go before the Packers pick again at 41, and he's a player I really like. Got him in my last mock draft. He is the epitome of a slot cornerback, and I'm hoping that if the Packers take a look at him, they kind of remove their thresholds they have for cornerback. You know, he's only 5'10", 182 pounds, but man, this guy is really good in the slot, and I really hope the Packers can maybe take a look at him. But for this pick at 25, it's going to be an easy one for me. It's Jackson Powers-Johnson. I have drafted him in, I think, 2 mock drafts before. I mean, this guy hasn't allowed a sack in the last 3 seasons. We see last year 829 snaps at center. The year before that, 350 at guard. 3 hurries allowed. Run block grade of an 85.2. Pass block grade of a 90.6. We have a gap grade 70.2. Zone grade 83.2. True pass set pass block grade of an 87.1. Like I said, the Packers, generally aren't an interior guard, interior lineman, early draft pick type of team. But when you're looking at Jackson Powers-Johnson, the versatility that he has from center to guard and the talent that he has and the complete upgrade that this will give the offensive line that's going to be losing John Runyon, and the uncertainty with Sean Ryan at right guard, the uncertainty with Josh Myers and his future at center, this just completely locks both of them up, at least for 2024. So with this pick, we are going Jackson Powers-Johnson, center out of Oregon, in the first round. Before we dive into the second round of this mock draft, I want to talk to you guys about today's video sponsor, Mando. So although some of my mock draft picks may stink, Mando's here to make sure you guys don't stink. In a clinical study, men who showered with soap and used Mando whole body deodorant had an odor score of 0 out of 10 after 12 hours. Men who showered with soap alone had an odor score of 8 out of 10 after 12 hours. Big odor. Introducing Mando from the creators of Lumi deodorant. Mando is clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours wherever you stink. And guys, thank you to Mando. I have a very special offer for you. New customers get $5 off their first starter pack with code BASS, B-A-S, at shopmando.com. And guys, if I'm being completely honest, I've done my fair share of research on deodorants. I've switched from different companies. I've switched to different brands. And no lie, this is my favorite one I have ever used in terms of the scent, in terms of the longevity. I'm really enjoying this Mount Fuji whole body deodorant right now. I feel like I've always had problems with deodorant where I'll put it on in the morning and then in the middle of the day when I'm not at my house anymore and I'm out and about and it just disappears. Like it's like I never put it on that day. But that has not happened at all with Mando. I'm actually very impressed with this deodorant. The Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with the stick deodorant, also a cream tube deodorant here, and also 2 free gifts of your choice. I chose the deodorant wipes here and also a tube body wash. And guys, like I said, there is a special offer for you from this channel. New customers will get $5 off their first starter pack using code BASS, B-A-S, at shopmando.com. That equates to over 40% off your first starter pack at shopmando.com with code BASS. All right, so now back to the draft. We are in round 2, pick 41. Kool-Aid McKinstry went, and then Sainristil went in the first round, 5 picks after ours at 30 there. So again, this is all changing due to the combine, of course. Lassiter at 40, but we're sitting here at 41, and there are some players available. TJ Tampa being one of them. Don't know if I've mocked him to the Packers yet, but I do really like him, and he does fit that Packers mold. 6'2", 200 pounds. You have Braden Fisk here, who blew up at the combine, and a lot of people's one of their favorite defensive linemen out of this draft class. Another guy that blew up at the combine was Chop Robinson. I mean, outside of his size, if he was sized bigger, he would have a 10.0 RAS. We see here he had a 9.53. He ran a 4.49 40. He has elite speed in terms of RAS. Great explosion with a 34.5-inch vertical. Robinson did only have 3 sacks last year and 5 before that, but really great PFF grades with a pass rush grade of a 92.3, pass rush win rate of 20.9%, and also an average run stop rate at 5.9%. Now, is edge a massive need for the Green Bay Packers? No, it's not. Can you always add more pass rushers? Yes, you can. Lucas Van Ness, Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary, Packers making this transition to this 4-man front, they're going to be hand in the dirt. And I think Chop Robinson could handle that, but he is still a little shorter than what the Packers usually go for at edge. But again, they're switching schemes, so they might have a different outlook or a different threshold at that position. And he's very, very intriguing here. But I think in terms of value and what the Packers need, I mean, let's face it, the Packers need a cornerback. And TJ Tampa, I think, fits that mold for the Green Bay Packers. Now, I believe PFF is a bit off. I don't think he's 6'2". I think he's actually slightly under 6'1", but these are always obviously inflated from their college profiles on their college pages. They're always going to be listed as taller than they actually are. But we see last year a 75.8 PFF grade. He had 2 interceptions, allowed a 54.8 passer rating, good coverage grade, above average run defense grade. Completion percentage only allowed 51%. Good man coverage grade, great zone coverage grade. He forced 9 incompletions. He had 7 coverage stops. But I think I'm actually going to switch on both of those. I like TJ Tampa. I love Chop Robinson. But I think I'm going to go safety here. And I think I'm going to go Javon Bullard. He's a guy that I've been looking at a ton and have yet been able to mock him to the Green Bay Packers. And if the Packers go out and sign an Xavier McKinney or any of those guys and also add someone like Javon Bullard, I mean, we're talking about a completely transformed back end of this defense. And TJ Tampa's very intriguing, don't get me wrong. That guy's an aggressive corner, press man, but also good at zone as well, right? A multiple style type of corner. And I think he fits into this defense, and I would be happy selecting him. But I think I'm going to go Javon Bullard, and I know he keeps switching up, but that's the part of the process, right? Javon Bullard, one of the best coverage safeties last year at college football, 88.4 coverage grade. We see he had 45 tackles, only 7 missed. He played 144 snaps in the slot, so you can kind of move him around a bit, but mainly deep safety, 362 snaps deep. He had 8 coverage stops, 5 run stops. He allowed 14 catches on 26 targets, a passer rating of 34.0, allowed 7 forced incompletions, didn't allow a touchdown, had 2 interceptions. Low missed tackle rate at 10.8%. Run defense grade still above average, 67.1. He's been flying up boards for me. We saw Cameron Kinchins have an awful combine and I think a 2.0 RAS. And if you look at Bullard's, he's a fast safety. 4.47 is fast for a safety. A lot of these safeties run 4.5, 4.6, even sometimes 4.7s. And I know speed's all not what safety is, right? He's 5'10", 198 pounds, a little bit undersized, but we saw Jeff Hafley talk about there's not that prototypical 6'2", 215-pound safety threshold anymore. You can have guys that are 5'10", 5'11", and I think this fits the mold for a Jeff Hafley defense with also adding someone in free agency. And we know the Packers love their Georgia defender. So this just fits for me. It feels like a Packers pick at 41. So we're going Javon Bullard, safety out of Georgia, at pick 41. All right, so now for our second pick in the second round at pick 57. Similar to 41, there's a lot of great talent on the board. Chris Jenkins, the mutant, is available. We've mocked him to the Packers multiple times. We could go Kyrie Jackson if we wanted to, go corner after skipping out on TJ Tampa there. Jonathan Brooks, who the Packers have met with at running back. Do they go another second-round running back? Maybe. I mean, they did it on A.J. Dillon, right? Marshall Nealand is someone that's been flying up boards, and I know a lot of people like. Edgerrin Cooper is still here at linebacker, who I like, and a lot of people like, and a lot of people consider the linebacker one, and people consider, hey, this guy could be a first-rounder, so getting him here at 57 would be awesome. And then also Christian Haynes at guard. We already got Jackson Powers Johnson. I don't know if the Packers would go, guard center round 1 and round 2 per se, but yeah, there's a lot of good options here. But here's the thing. I think in terms of what the Packers need, I think the need at linebacker, running back, and cornerback is higher than defensive line. Yes, I love adding guys to the trenches, but you have Devontae Wyatt, Kenny Clark, TJ Slayton, Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden. All of those guys are going to kind of try to take over 2 spots there, right? Because the Packers are going to move to a 4-man front, and yeah, Colby Wooden can play some edge, and they probably will rotate him out some, maybe even Carl Brooks. But in terms of this 4-man front, Kenny Clark's obviously a starter. Devontae Wyatt a starter. They rotate in TJ Slayton, of course, on early downs. And like I said, Carl Brooks and Colby Wooden. I think adding Chris Jenkins would be awesome, but I think you can kind of like add either a free agent defensive lineman like Grover Stewart, or get a guy later in this draft and use this on a more of a position of need. So the 2 guys at a position of need that I have my eyes on here, I would go Jonathan Brooks, but I think there's just so many other running backs in rounds like 3, 4, 5 that are also good. Kyrie Jackson at cornerback, who we haven't looked at much in any of my mock drafts. He had an awesome season last year, 3 interceptions, 41.6 passer rating allowed, an outside cornerback, and he has the size too, 6'3". He's probably about 6'1". We can actually look here at his RAS. Oh, he actually is 6'3", almost 6'4", so that's not a lie. Great, size, especially for what the Packers like. He ran a 4.5 at 6'3". That's nice. 11'1" broad jump, 36.5-inch vertical, a great 10-yard split. But then you also have Edgerrin Cooper. Linebacker is a position of need for me, and I've drafted him a decent bit. It's because I like him so much. And after the combine, I like him even more. I mean, an elite speed, 4.51 at linebacker. I mean, that's scary if you add like Cooper and Quay Walker together, and then you also have Isaiah McDuffie. There's your 3 linebackers in a 4-3 base, right? I know I'm just keeping out Devondre Campbell. I'm just very convinced that he's not going to be a Packer in 2024, but we'll see. Even if he is, I still think Edgerrin Cooper would be a very, very solid pick here. So I'm pretty torn on both of these guys, but I think at the end of the day, I'm going to go Edgerrin Cooper. I just think it's slightly more of a position in need, and linebacker in rounds 3 and 4, I'm not too fond of, whereas cornerback, I think there's a lot of good options there. So I'm going to go Edgerrin Cooper here in the 2nd round at pick 57 out of Texas A&M. So now we're here in round 3, where we have 2 selections, of course, at 88 and 91. And again, there's a lot of good talent on the board. Kalen Bullock at safety. We already got Javon Bullard, but hey, the Packers could 100% go double safety in the first 3 rounds. Jarian Jones as a slot cornerback. Deidrean Taylor Demerson. I think if I were to go safety again, it would probably be him, but I think I might be able to wait. Will he fall to 126? Probably not. But I'm happy because we already got Javon Bullard, and I'm putting this under the pretense that the Packers sign a free agent, but I really, really like DTD here, and I think he's an awesome safety as a single high type of guy, and he could do that, and I think he'd be an awesome, add to this defense. They have Christian Mahogany at guard from Boston College, obviously played under Jeff Hafley. He's definitely an option, a little bit smaller, but Packers tend to have taller, rangy type of linemen, and that would be Patrick Paul here. And I haven't really looked at the thought of getting a true tackle early on in this draft. We already got JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson, but Patrick Paul is a very intriguing tackle prospect, and I feel Bakhtiari's not going to be a Packer in 2024. Yes, Rasheed Walker is my future left tackle, but even Gutekunst said himself, there needs to be competition there. That's not a given. It's not 100% Rasheed Walker starting left tackle. And then also, if Zach Tom does need to move inside, you need another tackle, right? We had a little bit of depth there with Bakhtiari, although not playing, but being available week 1. You had Yosh Nijman, who's now a free agent the Packers probably won't bring back. You had Rasheed Walker, who now is a starter. But right now, they're kind of low on tackle depth. And yeah, Jackson Powers Johnson, I already selected a lineman earlier. But Patrick Paul, I think, would be an awesome add here. Not to mention, he, of course, fits the athletic threshold for the Green Bay Packers, a 9.8 RAS, 6'7", 331 pounds, 30 bench reps, and is pretty quick. He's just been an excellent pass protector in college, a 91.5 pass block grade last year, only allowed 2 sacks the last 2 seasons. We see all the snaps at left tackle. I think having competition and depth at tackle, especially left tackle, is very important, and we know how the Packers love to invest in offensive line in these middle rounds. So with our first pick in the 3rd round at pick 88, we are going Patrick Paul, tackle out of Houston. All right, so now we're at pick 91, and you can go Blake Corum here. I know it's a spectrum here. It's you love Blake Corum or you absolutely hate him. It's wild seeing all the comments in my comments after a mock draft, either go Blake Corum over the running back you selected because he's going to be the best one no matter what, 100%. And then there's guys on the other side no, the guy is way too much wear. he's not going to be good in the NFL, yada, 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 right? So I'm just going to stay away from it right now because you can't win if you select Blake Corum in a mock draft, I'll tell you that. We have Jerry and Jones available. You have Kalen Bullock still, Cedric Van Pran, obviously we just got linemen. We already have 2 in this draft. DTD here, who I really like. Sion Vaki, I know a lot of people like, but the guy I have my eyes on, because I know everyone's going to like this if the Packers select him in the 3rd round, is Max Melton, of course, brother of Bo Melton. We have yet to get a cornerback yet, and it's a position of need, and man, why not just get an absolute athlete? As we see here, a 9.65 RAS, a little bit on the smaller size. So hey, Green Bay, you know, it's Bo Melton's brother. This guy is going to be an athlete in the NFL. He's going to be a good player. Lower your threshold a little bit, right? 5'11", 187, that's fine. He ran a 4.39. He said he was going to beat Bo Melton's speed. He didn't, but he's still elite speed. Elite 20-yard, elite 10-yard, a 40.5-inch vertical, 11.4-inch broad jump. Man, are the Meltons just made in a lab? And I think Max Melton would perfectly transition into this new Packers defense. He can play press man. He's an aggressive style type of corner. He can come up and make a tackle in the run game. He allowed 3 touchdowns, had 3 interceptions last year, 2 interceptions the year before that, 3 interceptions the year before that. So he's a ball hawk as well. He had 5 forced incompletions and 6 coverage stops. The Packers obviously have a need at cornerback. Max Melton has been flying up boards. He very well could go in the 2nd round. A lot of people have him around, you know, Mike Sainristil and TJ Tampa and all that now. So I think this would be excellent value at 91. So we are going Max Melton at pick 91. Brother of Bo Melton, cornerback from Rutgers. Here we are in round 4. A couple players that went before, you know, Trey Benson, Braylon Allen, 2 running backs I know a lot of people like, but Tyke Smith is someone I really wanted to get here in round 4. A slot, you know, cornerback at the NFL level. He's listed as a safety, but man, he was really good. And you could pair up, you know, Javon Bullard and Tyke Smith, college teammates, and obviously Georgia defenders. You also have, you know, Quay Walker, Devontae Wyatt, also Eric Stokes. We'd have a ton of Georgia guys on this Packers defense. But I think we're going to go running back here. I think round 4 is solid, and although Trey Benson and Braylon Allen just went, and I would have loved to have either of those guys, there's still a couple very good options here, and that's Will Shipley and Isaac Guerendo here from Louisville. Now, I just want to take a second and look at Isaac Guerendo's RAS, a 9.99. This dude had an insane combine. 6 foot, 221 pounds, 41.5-inch vertical, 10'9" broad jump, a 4.3 340. I mean, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. And if the Packers are going to follow any guidelines based on athletes and just add a guy that is an absolute ridiculous athlete, is Isaac Guerendo, but also has the size. You know, 6'1", 225. That's like the prototypical running back, but he's still like one of the fastest guys out of this draft class. 810 yards last year, 11 touchdowns, but also really good in the receiving game. 22 receptions, 234 yards, a 90.3 rushing grade, good zone grade, elusive rating of a 106.8, and 4.11 yards after contact per attempt. 31 missed tackles forced, 543 yards after contact, 14 carries of 15 plus yards. This guy is super explosive. You also have Will Shipley, who had 840 yards last year, 1,100 yards the year before that. Also used a ton in the receiving game as well. But I think in terms of like who the Packers would draft, and we know they love their athletes, and they also want to get, you know, a bigger type of running back. 6'1", 225 pounds. They're going to be losing A.J. Dillon. Will Shipley, a small type of elusive running back, but good in the receiving game, but also really, you know, quick as well. But I think Isaac Guerendo is just a little bit more intriguing here after the combine. And this is a post-combine mock draft. So at pick 126 in round 4, we are going Isaac Guerendo, running back out of Louisville. So now we're in round 5 at pick 168. A couple positions that I think I should kind of go after here. Tight end's one of them. I really like AJ Barner out of Michigan, and I think he'd be an awesome tight end 3 in this offense. You know, you have Musgrave, you have Kraft, and I think adding AJ Barner, just a true, you know, blocking style type of tight end, but also, you know, can be used in the receiving game a little bit as your 3rd guy. I mean, that would just be a 3-headed monster at tight end. We could also add another cornerback, and the one I have my eyes on is Kamal Haddon here out of Tennessee. Awesome grade last year with amazing coverage grade. Low completion percentage allowed, great zone coverage, allowed a 7 passer rating last year, had 3 interceptions. I mean, allowed 12 receptions on 33 targets. Now, although I do really like Haddon, I like the thought more of just adding AJ Barner as a 3rd tight end in this offense. If I were to get a corner, I feel like I want a guy that I feel like I want to put it slot. And Tarheeb Still here isn't a bad option. You know, played slot 2 seasons prior to this mainly, but this year played outside. But I just really like the thought of AJ Barner at tight end 3 for this offense. You might be going, hey, well, is tight end 3 really a need? In the Packers offense, I think so. I mean, we saw how much Ben Sims got out there, and I still do like Ben Sims, but I think AJ Barner's just like a juiced up Ben Sims, and you'd just be way better than him anyway. So here at pick 168, we're going AJ Barner, tight end out of Michigan. Now we're in the 6th round. We have, I think, 4 picks left in this mock draft at 203 here. I'm gonna go Frank Gore Jr. I'm just gonna be very quick with this. I mean, there's not much to talk about, right? Like it's Frank Gore's son. You know, I'd take a shot on him in the 6th round. You already got Isaac Guerendo. I think adding another running back, you have Aaron Jones, Isaac Guerendo, Frank Gore Jr. And obviously, I mean, you can see the last 2 seasons: 1,100 yards last year, 1,300 yards the year before that. Just absolutely ridiculous. Also used in the receiving game last year with 27 receptions. We can see his elusive rating, zone grade, rushing grade, gap grade, and yards after contact per attempt. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time because it's Frank Gore Jr., right? So in the 6th round, we're going to take that flyer. We're going to go Frank Gore Jr., running back out of Southern Miss. Here at pick 216, we're going to go defensive lineman, and I think I'm going to go Evan Anderson here. Don't know much about him, but judging by some of his grades here, seems like a complete type of run stopper type of defensive lineman. I mean, he's 6'3", 356 pounds, just an immovable object. 8.2% run stop rate, 7.1% pass rush win rate, an 83.7 run defense grade, but also had 5 sacks last year. Like I said, I don't know much about him, but 3 straight years of good grades. Packers could add another run defending type of defensive lineman to this defense for sure. And it's the 6th round, so you're taking a flyer here. So at 216, we are going Evan Anderson, defensive lineman from FAU. At 243, I'm going to go Keaton Oladapo. He's someone who I don't really understand why he's in the 7th round. Slot defender, but also box defender, played some deep, but he's a slot guy to me. But of course, you can move him all around. A ton of versatility. A 91.3 run defense last year, 19.4% forced incompletion rate. A little bit high on the missed tackle, but still only 12%. Coverage grade 84.4, had an 88.3 PFF grade last year, 63 total tackles. He only allowed 21 receptions on 36 targets, a 61.3 passer rating allowed, had 2 interceptions, only allowed 1 touchdown, 7 forced incompletions. Again, I don't really understand why, like, his rank is 258 here. Or 241. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm going to add another defensive back, slot guy, versatile box, slot safety, whatever you want to call him. I think this is awesome value in the 7th. So we're going Keaton Oladapo out of Oregon State here. Now here with our last pick, we're going to go quarterback just based off the fact that Brian Gutekunst said we need to get back to drafting multiple quarterbacks every draft. So although, you know, we got Jordan Love, you got Sean Clifford, those are your number 1 and number 2. The Packers taking a flyer on a quarterback at 251. Why not? And I think I'm going to go Sam Hartman out of Notre Dame. You know, 24 touchdowns last year, 8 interceptions. The year before that, 38 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. The year before that, 39 touchdowns, right? Passer rating of about 100 and plus every year, you know, 99.9 in 2021. No pressure grade, deep grade, good, passing grade. I've done little research on quarterbacks because it's kind of like, as a Packers fan, you're like, all right, Jordan Love is your guy. You know, yeah, you know the first rounder, second rounder guys. And I think getting another quarterback here in the 7th round, why not take a flyer on him? So we're going Sam Hartman with our last pick at 251 out of Notre Dame. All right, so that does it for the Green Bay Packers post-combine 7-round mock draft. This is version 4.0. Let's go over the picks. Round 1, pick 25, Jackson Powers Johnson. I think if he's available at 25, that's a run the card up type of situation. Your day 1 starter at center or right guard if you want to keep Josh Myers in there. Then in round 2, we go Javon Bullard. I was about to go TJ Tampa. I was about to go Chop Robinson. Then I made a full switch and switched to Javon Bullard, a Georgia defender. Hey, it's the Green Bay Packers. They're going to select a Georgia defender in this draft. I guarantee it, right? Javon Bullard hopefully will be the one. Awesome cover safety, one of the best coverage safeties out of this draft class. And I think the Packers will add a free agent, and then you could add someone like Javon Bullard, and I think that'll just, you know, transform that safety room. Then at pick 57, we go Edgerrin Cooper. I think his value here is tremendous. I think he could be an early 2nd round guy. Tons of athleticism. You know, ran under a 4.5 40 in the combine. Pairing him up with Quay Walker would be definitely scary. Patrick Paul at 88 was kind of like a luxury, but also great value type of pick. The Packers should be adding more depth at tackle with, you know, losing Nyman, probably losing Bakhtiari. Yes, Rasheed Walker is your starting left tackle, but you need depth and you need competition. And if they move Zach Tom to the inside, Rasheed Walker could flip to the right, and you have Patrick Paul on the left, who's been a excellent pass protector at Houston. Then we go Max Melton. I know a lot of people are going to like this pick. I feel like I haven't seen one person against the Max Melton selection, right? When I've seen it on Twitter and whatnot. Obviously, the brother of Bo Melton, also a tremendous athlete. The Packers have a need at cornerback. There's not much more to say. And speaking of tremendous athletes, we have Isaac Grendo here in the 4th round, who has a 9.99 RAS. He is the definition of an athlete, but also 6'1", 225 pounds. That prototypical running back size. Packers have a need at running back. Then we go AJ Barner in round 5. I really like this pick. Just adding him a true blocking inline type of tight end as your number 3. Just run 2 tight end sets all day with Tucker Kraft, AJ Barner if you're going to be running the football, and just run against teams over and over and over again. And do that with Aaron Jones, Isaac Grendo, and also Frank Gore, who I selected in round 6. I think it's a good flyer pick. Obviously, the son of Frank Gore Sr., not much to mention there, right? Evan Anderson in round 6. I think he's 356 pounds, run defender, but also had 5 sacks last year. I think this is like just a depth add, another run defender, right? Keaton Oladapo is someone I don't understand if he goes 7th round. I mean, this guy can play anywhere in the box, deep, slot, and did a tremendous job at doing all 3 at Oregon State. Then we go quarterback with our last pick. Again, I'm doing this solely based on what Brian Gutekunst said. So we go Sam Hartman at 251. So that does it for the Green Bay Packers 7-round mock draft version 4.0 post-combine. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I actually really enjoyed this mock draft. If it went down exactly this way, I'd be extremely happy. But let me know down below what you think of my picks, what pick is your favorite, but also if I was on the board, or on the clock, should I say, and there's a player that I didn't look at or didn't select, and you were like, damn, I really wanted that player in this mock draft, let me know down below. But I'll catch you on the next one. I appreciate everyone coming by and watching. If you could, please leave a like down below. It supports the channel a ton. But I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.